Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Eye on the Ball. I'm Steve Rivera alongside co-host Jay Gonzales, and you're listening to 1030 The Voice. Good afternoon, Jay. I have a specific question for you, but how you doing?
I can hardly wait. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just, like everybody else, man, trying to stay out of the heat.
I'll ask Tom of this, too. So yesterday I saw that Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez are thinking about buying the New York Mets. More money than you can ever afford. Not anybody, what are you going to do with your money? So if Jay Gonzales hit the lottery for a few million, 75 million, what would you buy? What would you want to do with that?
Well,
if you had like a dream thing to do.
If they told me I had to spend it on a team, okay, I don't know what I'd do if I had that kind
You'd
of money.
buy the Dodgers?
But yeah, if they told me I had to spend it on a team, I'd probably buy the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Or buy
you really
into
want to
the
get
Dodgers.
involved? Because once you get into the mess, you start less of a fan.
I know, but I want a really nice seat behind home plate.
You
right?
just buy one.
Just,
you and who's the old dude? The old radio guy?
I guess if I were to have to again, if the condition was, we'll give you a bunch of money, but you've got to buy a sports franchise with it.
Uh-huh.
I actually think I would try to find an NFL team that I would like to buy, because baseball is. I love baseball, but I don't know that I could stick through an entire season in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Just too many games and yada yada yada.
Magic Johnson tried that,
right?
Or is he still a part with the Dodgers?
I think he is, yeah. But I think I would invest in an NFL team.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know which one. It certainly wouldn't be the Cardinals.
Smart.
That's harsh, right? Maybe the Raiders because they're in Vegas now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Rams because they're in Southern California. Probably one of those teams, not the Cowboys. Maybe something like that. I would love to do something like that. Yeah. If I got that money, I don't know that that's what I would do with it. If I could do anything.
What would you do besides if you not a tied night? If you did it? What would you do?
I'm certainly trying to invest it in the best way so that my family would have money for their lifetimes, right? Sure. Probably throw a lot of it into like a foundation, some charity, that type of stuff, because I'm just that kind of a guy. But, really care about my community, and I really would. I think I'm trying to figure out how much I would need to set up my family, and then give a whole bunch of it away. Right. I honestly would do that. And I love hearing about people who do that, because when I see Patrick Mahomes, he's going to make $500 million playing football. I'm like, does he need $500 million? What's he going to do with that? And so you want to make sure that everybody that, down your bloodlines, and maybe your parents, if they're still around, you're taking care of everybody. And then you go do some fun stuff with it. But then I would honestly give a whole bunch of it away. But like I said, if you put a knife to my throat and said, you got to buy a pro sports franchise, I'd probably invest in an NFL team. Yeah.
Thomas, what would you do?
Okay, first of all, Bob Uecker was who you were trying to think of earlier.
No. He was.
I must be in the front row?
No, CNN guy. God, he was just on CNN guy. Old guy. He's been married 1,000 times.
Larry King.
Oh,
okay. Larry King, yeah. Because he has the seat. He was with the girl with the legs on Entertainment Tonight.
Mary Hart.
Yeah, because they have behind the seats. Yeah.
She sits right behind home plate.
Right, exactly.
There you go.
At Dodger Stadium.
Right. So what would you do, Tom?
If I have to buy a franchise, I'm just going max profitability, whether it's NFL or NBA. I'll just be detached and sit there and whatever makes the most sense for the profit, that's fine. I love hockey. It's my favorite sport in the world, but there are very few hockey teams I want to buy. Honestly, I'd try to find a profitable minor league franchise and probably go there. Because I've worked in minor league sports for a long time. I just think it's more fun. You can be more a part of things there. That said, if I don't have to buy a sports franchise, I'm setting up a real estate empire. And that's how I'm going to both commercial and residential real estate. And I will have a lot of rental properties because they continue to generate income. And so
you guys have already kind of
that's my plan.
Messed my
yeah, and then I'm buying Steve. Then I'm buying my beachfront bar, and I am out of here. I'm gonna pour daiquiris and pina coladas for tourists and just enjoy my time.
What a life! Just you guys are outshining me. I'm calling Bob Baffert, getting me 2 horses and.
Oh, See, I didn't even think of that.
And I'm trying to wing it.
I didn't even think of that. I'm into that. I'll go with you on that.
Yeah, we could be partners.
I'd buy a couple of horses.
Eye in the Bog Incorporated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chances of it being, but it'd be fun.
Oh, it'd be fun.
The chance of it being,
Something like
getting a home run
Look,
with it.
if I didn't care if I lost the money,
Yeah.
oh,
Right,
that would be
exactly.
so much fun. I'd love to have an owner's box at Santa Anita and
Yeah, right.
go to the Kentucky Derby. Oh, all day.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I do want to say I would take a trip around the world to play golf at all the courses I've always wanted to play at. I would definitely do that.
Yeah,
So
I think Jay's going to follow you with that one.
yeah, that would be in there somewhere because there's, I want to play St. Andrews and Pebble Beach and a couple others.
No, just one. I just try and buy my way on to play at Augusta. That's it. I just want to play at Augusta one time.
They'd invite you if you had like 50 million, 75 million.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah. Whatever
Mr.
I had to
Gonzales,
do.
what can we do for you?
Whatever I had to do to get on at Augusta, I'd do that. There'll be a number of things like that, a bunch of stuff like that.
Fine, yeah.
But if we're
Bucket
talking
list.
a long-term thing, make some good investments. Real estate is one, that type of thing. But I think I really would try to find some way to be involved in sports somehow. Maybe go buy.
sure.
Maybe go buy Alabama football. They're a pro franchise, right?
Yes, with their coach Lou Saban.
I know, and their payroll is probably manageable.
Yeah, probably. Well, maybe one day we'll find out. No, I just want to. I saw that yesterday. I thought that'd be a cool story.
That's an interesting thing. I've never let myself go there. Winning the lottery and all that kind of stuff. But hey, off the top of my head, those are some of the.
We're
things
just
that
trying to
come
win
mind.
$5 bets at 2-1.
Exactly. I'm trying to figure out what I can bet on with Tiger Woods this weekend, playing for the first time on tour this year.
So you got us Rick LaRose today. Should be fun. Former UA golf coach, successful golf coach.
Right. He was 39 years. So first of all, I think I read that he was the second longest tenured head coach in any sport at Arizona, behind Pop McHale.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for 39 years. Coached the men's and women's team.
Won both.
A couple of times. Won national championships on both. So he's at U of A a long time. Still involved with golf. Put out a bunch of great golfers, who've been out on tour, including Jim Furyk, who's playing right now, and he's in the Memorial this weekend, and some others. Rory Sabatini did well last week, so he's put a bunch of guys out there, and I've got a lot of history there, and I'd love to talk to him about his time and some of the things that he's seen, in college golf. But we also got to talk about his time as a shortstop for our City League baseball team that he played on for a while. And, he was an old guy back then when he was playing, and he was a pretty good shortstop. He could swing the stick, and he had an arm. So, we'll see if he has well, first of all, we'll see if his shoulder is still okay, because though he was making some long throws at an advanced age. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, cool. Let's take a break here and try to track him down. Come back with Rick LaRose here at 1030 The Voice.
We're Tucson's trusted voice for local news and talk. 1030 The Voice.
There's a place in our house.
For 70 years, Benjamin Supply has been keeping Tucson flowing. Hygiene is our business. We help you achieve extreme clean. Minimize germ spreading with a hands-free sensor faucet. Forget the paper panic with a washlet seat. And speaking of waterworks, a big thanks to plumbers for their essential efforts during this health crisis. Shop our downtown showroom by appointment. Call us at 777-7000 or see all the products online at benjaminsupply.com.
Thanks to Benjamin Plumbing Supply.
Being named the 2020 El Tour de Tucson dedication recipient was such an honor. I have been a part of El Tour in the past, and I know about some of these amazing names that have been dedication recipients in the past, but it was an honor to be chosen for that, not only for me, but for my organization that supports people with disabilities.
I've met so many people through the riding and through El Tour that are now some of my closest and dearest friends.
One of the things that makes El Tour, so safe and so well ran is all the law enforcement that gets involved, blocking up the roads. My favorite part of the course, on the newer course, was the backside of Pistol Hill.
I think what's amazing about El Tour is there's something for everyone's ability level. It includes the opportunity to be out there. You can even do a 1 miler. You can do something at home if you're limited to being indoors. That's what's great about it, is all abilities are encouraged. It's very inclusive.
It's those guys from Tucson Appliance Company, the best appliance company in Tucson. For the month of July, we're going to donate 2% of our sales to a local charity from in-stock purchases. Come shop at our store and work with our amazing sales team. Dustin, David, Ryan, Alex, me, and Peter. You can choose from a list of local charities for us to donate to. The only way we can give back is if you shop local. Only at Tucson Appliance, where our low price is your priority.
Go local. Make the switch. At Hughes Federal Credit Union, we offer customized solutions and get you what you need faster. Like our quick and easy credit cards and auto loans. All done online from start to finish. Save time using mobile banking, bill pay, mobile deposit, and mobile pay with just a few clicks. Live large, accessing 30,000 plus surcharge-free ATMs and free debit card choices. Make the switch to Hughes today. Visit hughesfcu.org/switch. Certain restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
Trusted local news and talk. 1030, The Voice.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera alongside Jay Gonzales. And now on the phone, I have former golf coach at U of A, Rick LaRose. Rick, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right, Rick. What's keeping you busy these days?
About the same thing I used to do. I get up every morning, go to the golf course, play a little golf, hit some balls. That's about it.
Are you still any good?
I'm not as good as I used to be.
None of us are, right?
No.
What a life. What a life, Rick. Retire into even a better life.
Well, I tell you, it picked a good time. I really don't miss the coaching much. I miss the kids and I miss the competition, but it's an awful lot of stuff to do now with all the rules and all of the paperwork involved, and it's unbelievable. Kids are a little different than they used to be, and we had a good run. I was there for 40 years or so, a little more, and that's a pretty good time.
Yeah. Well, let's go right to that, because that's the question I wanted to ask you. I mean, the landscape of golf, over the 40 years that you were coaching, and then even, since then, since you've been out. I mean, the dramatic changes that have taken place, and I'm not talking just the length of these players, and I'm talking about the way people treat golf, and as kids, and how they get committed to that at an early age and just don't do anything else, that kind of stuff. I mean, what's been your impression of the evolution of how that's come about with people who end up being the guys who end up being on the tour, what they go through versus what they used to go through when you were just starting out? Well,
kids are a little bit different these days. They get pretty sport specific at a pretty early age. For a long time, golfers, they played basketball or football. Maybe some played some baseball or something. Did other sports, and the kids today get pretty specialized in things. I just listened to Urban Meyer today talk about the same thing in recruiting athletes. He's looking for people that have been competitors in other things other than just football. He said they make the best players, and I thought that was the way it was in golf for a long time. We had a lot of great athletes over the years, and the two that come to mind real quick, first of all, was Jim Furyk was a great athlete. Mike Springer was a great athlete. Larry Silvera, Chris Nalen, Ricky Barnes. These guys were all great athletes, as well as being great golfers. And as far as the game itself right now, obviously being long has always been an advantage. And you can go back, Jack Nicklaus was long, Tiger Woods was long, and they have a big advantage. And now that Bryson DeChambeau is hitting it out there, 370, he has a little bit of an advantage too.
Well, 428 when he gets it on the cart path, right?
Well, I'll tell you, he's a great kid. His dad, John, played for me at Arizona. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I took Bryson to Australia a few years ago to play for the U.S. team, and he's just a great kid. He's, I spent a lot of time recruiting him, and then decided to give up the coaching aspect. So he probably could have been a Wildcat. He's very committed to what he does. It's just not just being somebody who's goofy. He spends a lot of time going over his theories, and he puts them into practice. If they work, he stays with it. If he doesn't, he changes them. But he's pretty serious about what he does, and he's really a good kid.
I would assume, Rick, that over the years you talked about students changing, and just one of the reasons, not one of the reasons you got out, but how things changed lately. But golfers are like really smart guys. They're determined. They work their craft, if you will, because you have to be good by doing it all the time. What changed at the end or near the end with the kids?
That's a hard question. I mean, golfers for the most part, and this has to do with just anybody who plays golf. It gets to be kind of a religion for them. They want to practice. They want to get better. They all want to shoot a lower score. Even guys like Jack Nicklaus still practice and try to get better. Arnold Palmer, right up till the day he passed away, was still trying to get better at what he did. And it's very committed. It takes time. It takes effort. It's a very hard game to get at a high level at.
So let me ask you, I know Jay golfs. I golf so rarely. I am horrible. I'm not long. I'm not short. I'm lucky to hit the ball. Could you turn me into a golfer that's halfway decent, and how long would it take? And I'm saying me like a normal guy.
Well, it takes a long time for someone who hasn't grown up with the game, because you don't really understand all the nuances of the game, and every shot is different because the lies are different. And what I would recommend for anybody that wants to get better, especially a guy who plays once a week, maybe a couple times a month, and they want to get better, spend all the time they can working around the greens, hitting pitch shots from 80 yards and in. The short game will save you, and if you can chip and putt a little bit, and that's the best thing to do. Instead of going to the range and trying to hit drivers and 5-irons all day, go to the short game area and work on your short game, your touch and feel, and how you manage your game around the greens, and you'll get better. You'll get a lot better quick.
Rick, I want to go back to what you were talking about golfers, the great golfers, like fear, being athletes. Because way back when we were playing baseball together, and my son Adam was in middle school, and he was playing baseball, he was playing golf, and even back when I was in Little League, I was told, and I want you to dispel this myth publicly, because I don't know that. I think there's probably a lot of people who still believe in this. I was told when I was in Little League, don't play golf during baseball season. It'll screw up your swing. Mm-hmm. And one time I asked you about that, and because a friend of Adam's in middle school, his dad made him stop playing Little League baseball because he wanted him to get better at golf. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I asked you, what do you say to a parent who says that, who doesn't let his kid play golf because he thinks it will mess up his baseball swing? And you said, any parent who ever does that, I want to punch him in the face.
Well, I don't know if I ever said that. I was going to leave that to you. But,
that's my memory of that.
Well, obviously, you've known me a long time, and baseball has always been my real love. I love the game of baseball. And any kid who can have a chance to play some baseball and golf, it's fine. Hockey players make great golfers because they tend to, slap shots tend to come a little bit from the inside, and they have a pretty good swing. But baseball players can learn the game. I just was spending about a half hour on the range today with Shelley Duncan out at Tucson Country Club. Shelley can hit it forever. He is a big, strong athlete, and he is dedicating himself to playing a little bit of golf, and he's doing pretty well. I played with Mike Candrea the other day, and, Mike being a little softball coach, he loves the game of golf and plays the game pretty well, has a pretty good swing, and he was a baseball player growing up. So I think you can do both. I think you can do almost anything you set your heart to. I don't really buy that idea that you can't play baseball and golf.
And I understand. I wanted to go to baseball maybe at the second break, but I know you're a pretty good player. I know Jay, you played on his team back in the day. But I want to talk about fast pitch. I understand you used to be a heck of a fast pitch player.
Well, I did. I played fast pitch softball for a long time. We got the Tucson area and Arizona in general was a very good fast-pitch softball area. And we had a pro league, the American Professional Softball League, and the Tucson Rattlers was the first team in the state of Arizona to win a world professional championship. And we had a great time doing that. And then the amateur ball here, our team from Culliver Motors at the time, we got to play in 5 amateur world championships. So softball was really big around here in the days of Dave Harris, a great pitcher from Wilcox, and Ray Judd, and some of the great pitchers from Phoenix and Prescott. Fast pitch softball had a great life here in Tucson and in Arizona, and it's pretty well died out as far as men's fast pitch. It still goes on, but women's softball has really picked up, and it's a great game to watch.
What position did you play?
Well, Rick, go ahead.
I started out, I played third base, shortstop, and first base.
Well, the times that we played that City League team, and the memory that sticks out for me was one time playing in the outfield on that team, and it was that team with Dick Tomey and all those guys, and looking at the infield, and every guy in the infield except for catcher was 50 years old, and you were one of them.
So who were they? Were they Dick Tomey?
Well, I'm still only 46, so that was a while ago. But I remember the final game we played in City League. We're playing in the championship. We're playing a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids from Pima, I think. And we had Jason Hockamy on the mound.
Yep.
He was pitching for the Mets the week before. And I remember Frankie Acosta hit a home run the first pitch, and we're up 1-0. We lost 8-1. And we go, you know what, Hockamy? What were you thinking about?
Exactly. That was
who were the guys?
That was a great infield. It was. I remember it was Butch Henry, who was the former SID at Arizona. He was at third. Mm-hmm. Rick was at short. Tom Duddleston, who worked also in the sports information office, was at second, and Dick Tomey was at first.
Wow.
And that was, what I always said about that infield was, it had no range, but if you hit the ball right to them, they made the play.
That wasn't the fastest group, was it?
It wasn't. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of speed on the base pads either. It was a base at a time. But that was a great time.
So what was your outfield? You had the young outfield.
Well, we had guys like Dave Hirsch who would who pitched every game, and
Jay Gonzales.
I played some outfield, and a guy named Mike Barker who was really good, and he was a trainer at the U of A. Then we had some guys who had played some pro ball for us. Clancy Woods,
we had a pretty good
Todd Devereaux came and played for us that one season, and a kid named Todd Brown who came and pitched for us, and Jerry Kindle put him on our team because he needed him to get some work in the summer and that kind of thing. So we had a lot of fun.
We had
with
that kid named Steve Kerr played with us.
Steve Kerr played a game for us. We talked to Steve about that when he was on the show with us a few weeks ago. And you remember his one game, and then his agent asked him what the hell he was doing out there because he was about to be drafted.
Oh God, he was great though.
That was so much fun. So great times back then. But Rick, we want to talk to you some more about about golf and what's going on over on the tour. I'm assuming you still talk to some of your guys, and I'd be interested to see the kinds of stuff that they're going through on the tour. I know Furyk's playing in the Memorial this weekend, and so is I think Rory Sabatini, or at least he played last weekend.
Sabatini and Lashley.
Right. So we'd love to talk to you about how some of those guys are doing. So
perfect.
We'll catch you after the break.
You got it. Thanks, Jay.
CBS News at the top and bottom of every hour. 1030 The Voice, Tucson's trusted local news and talk.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A late surge pushed stocks to their best gain in over a week. The Dow Industrials jumped 557. The S&P 500 added 42 to a 5-week high. The Nasdaq rose 98. Second quarter earnings season is underway. J.P. Morgan Chase and Citigroup posted better than expected profits. Wells Fargo had its first quarterly loss since 2008. The three banks set aside nearly $28 billion for bad loans. As Moderna prepares for the final trial of its COVID-19 vaccine, results from its initial safety trial are positive. Everyone in that trial produced antibodies similar to people who were infected and recovered. The final trial begins July 27th. Banking software maker Encino holds the crown for this year's strongest trading debut, nearly tripling in its first day. Encino provides a cloud-based system that is used by over 1,100 financial institutions. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg.
CBS News Update. The search for a coronavirus vaccine is advancing. Moderna's experimental vaccine showed it was safe in all 45 healthy volunteers. And CBS's Dr. David Agus says,
what it showed is that all of the doses, there has been a good immune response, an immune response that mimics being exposed to the virus. And I think that's what we hope for with a vaccine.
CBS's Wendy Gillette.
The next step is widespread testing. 30,000 people will start getting the shots later this month. The results could be known by the end of this year. As many as 1 billion doses per year could be available starting in 2021.
While President Trump wants schools to reopen this fall, Dr. Anthony Fauci told a Georgetown University audience decisions should be up to local officials.
If you're in the part of a country where the dynamics of the outbreak are really minimal, if at all, then there's no problem at all in getting back.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
These days, most families are concerned with having the right insurance coverage. Protecting your family, home, auto, and other valuable possessions can be challenging and sometimes expensive. Crest Insurance gives you flexible options and solutions while saving you money. Insurance is not one size fits all, and at Crest, we find the coverage that's best for you and your family. Visit us online at www.crestins.com or call us toll free at 888-881-5765.
Time to update those old kitchen cabinets? Call the Window Depot today. The Window Depot is not only the #1 warehouse for windows and doors, we now have a great selection of kitchen and bath cabinets at Tucson's best prices. The Window Depot is Tucson's top spot for granite and quartz countertops to finish the new kitchen or the replacement of that old worn-out Formica. So call us today at 290-8545 or 622-6430. The Window Depot, windows, doors, granite, and new kitchens.
1030 The Voice. News from inside the Beltway.
Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Dave Weigel joins me to talk about how the race is unfolding. Plus, it finally is really tax day. Not April 15th this year, July 15th this year. We'll muse about what ought to happen. Maybe no taxes at all for a year on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Weekday mornings from 10 to noon on 1030 The Voice. Trusted local news and talk.
This is The Voice, 1030, Tucson's trusted news and talk.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera, alongside Jay Gonzales, and on the phone we have former UA golf coach Rick LaRose.
So, Rick, I've been watching all the golf I can stand because, first of all, that's all there is. But I love to watch golf. I always have, And so, what are you hearing about, what it's like out there for these guys? No fans. That playoff last week with Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas. It was riveting, but the silence of all of it was incredible. I mean, what are you hearing about what it's like out there?
Well, sports in general, without fans, you lose a little bit of the excitement, but. Like you said, you watch a lot of golf. I watch a lot of golf and a lot of NASCAR. And without fans, it's pretty different. But what I've heard is that it's a little bit different. Every week I get an email from the tour on a directive of what they're going to do on the protocols for the week. Because if you have a tour credential, nowadays you have to get tested on site before you actually step on site, and then you'll be tested again. And you got to let them know 10 days ahead of time if you're coming. And if you are coming, you got to coordinate it through the player you might be there to see. And they're very stringent on what they're doing. You can't get more than 6 feet from a player. You can't touch his equipment. Agents and sponsors and people like that are not allowed on the golf course, equipment reps after Tuesday. So they're really watching it pretty closely. And obviously, you hate to see anybody who gets it, but they've had some pretty strict protocols, and I think they're doing the same thing with all the other sports as well.
So, I mean, if you can imagine yourself, being in that kind of a situation where there's, where you're used to having these fans, can it change your concentration? Can it change your game at all? I mean, is it something you got to think about and deal with?
Well, I don't think they deal too much with that. Once they start playing, I think golf is golf, and I think once they get into competition, they're trying to score the best they can, and obviously their mind is pretty well focused on what they're doing now. I'm sure there's other concerns, living on the road by yourself with nobody around, and if you leave, you've got to get tested again. I'm kind of waiting to see how this NBA and NFL and Major League Baseball work out with all the quarantines and being locked up, and I just don't see how those guys are going to be able to do all that. But the tour's done a pretty good job so far.
So, Coach, I'm just curious. I go back to the good old days every now and again. When you're recruiting these kids, and you've had some fantastic guys play for you, was there a player or two, or 10, where you say this guy is a can't-miss guy?
Well, you're always trying to recruit the best possible players. And I've had a lot of guys I thought were can't-miss guys. But for the most part, every one of those really top players we had gotten to the next level if that's what they wanted to do, from all the way back from Robert Gamez and Springer and Silvera to Furyk and Purdy and Gore and Nalen and Barnes and on. They've all made it to that next level. And right now we've Jimmy Furyk's still playing on the tour, and Rory Sabatini's still playing. Nate Lashley, who won last year as a rookie, is playing. And every once in a while, Ted Purdy still gets a start. Ricky Barnes still gets a start. David Bergano has still got his tour card, although he doesn't play very much. He's been on a medical, but I think he has about 4 more events that he's exempt, and he could still go play the Korn Ferry Tour if he wanted. So we have a lot of players with connections that are still out there, and they were all considered the best of the best when we had them. And there's a few people like Henry Lau, who's the number 1 player in the country when we recruited him, was an All-American, played great, and he's running a golf course in Southern California. So you just kind of do what you want to do.
I've always wondered, I mean, when they show up and you just see them, and you see the swing, and you see the sound of the ball off the club and stuff like that, can you just tell if that guy wants to do it, he can?
Well, yeah, but sometimes it's hard to see what the size of the heart they have in their chest is. And it's not called swing, it's called golf. And a lot of people mistaken that. They think they got to have a perfect swing and be perfect to play well. And the idea is to shoot the lowest score. And I've always been the guy that's more interested in what you shoot than how it look. And we've been pretty successful with that. But like you said, the great players, Chris Nalen, for instance, is probably the second best iron player I ever saw in my life. And he still can hit his irons, and it's so pure, it's unbelievable. And he was a great player. So, but you still got to write a number down on that page. And if you can't write the numbers down, you need to find something else to do.
It's funny because I don't golf, but I watch it, and you guys know it every day, back of your hand stuff, where it's so not, the winner's always varying. It's almost like you don't know who's going to win this week. It's so difficult.
Well, a lot has to do with who's really hot with the putter. The guys that win usually are the guys that are making most of the 8-footers they have all week. And that's really the key, because they all hit it pretty good. They all drive it great, and those short games are terrific. It's just the guy that he's rolling the rock and he's making the putts this week. He's probably going to be your winner.
When you see all these guys who have come along, the young guys now, and they, the Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Rory, Colin Morikawa, who won last week, and he's right out of Cal. Who are some of those guys that are sort of the guys that you like to watch, just to watch them play?
Well, I'm pretty familiar with a lot of those guys because I still get to take the U.S. team to Australia every January for the Australian Master, the amateurs. And so over the last few years, since about I think 2008 or so, I've taken Ricky Fowler and Bud Cauley and Russell Henley and Morgan Hoffman and Kelly Craft, Nate. Patrick Rogers, Brandon Hagee, Oliver Snyderjan, Jordan Nieberger, Brandon Hagee, Will Zalatoris and DeChambeau came the same time. Aaron Wise, Matt Naismith. We've had some really good ones. We took last couple of years. I had Justin Suh and Matt Wolfman. So I know most of those guys pretty well, and they're pretty good, I'll tell you. They're not afraid. They get out of college and they get onto the tour and they're ready to play. It's not like, well, I got to learn how to do this, and boy, I'm really afraid of that guy. He was somebody I looked up to. They just say, hey, let's go, let's tee it up, and it's a little bit different mindset than kids had 20, 30, 40 years ago getting out on tour.
So with all due respect to Coach Iannello, I go back and I didn't cover golf, obviously covered basketball, but I think back in your days, the heyday was like the glory days of golf at U of A. Do you think I'm wrong, Jay?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
you won a couple of national titles, if not more. They were very good consistently. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to blow smoke.
It's come and gone like everything else, though, I think, Rick, don't you?
Well, back in from the late 80s through the early 2000s, golf was we were pretty good. Matter of fact, our men's team was number one 13 times, and 2 years the men's team and the women's team, because I had both teams there for a while, we were both number one in the country at the same time, and it was a kind of a nice feeling, and so we were pretty good, but everybody has gotten better. Everybody has learned from what we've done. Look at softball, for instance. Mike Andreas had great teams, and he always shared his knowledge, and everybody is pretty good in softball now. It's not like it used to be where, boy, we're going to get the best players and we're going to dominate. Everybody's getting good players. More people are playing the games of golf and softball. Young players are coming up, and the talent pool is much deeper now than it used to be. So it's a lot harder maybe than it used to be.
That's a great comparison because, in softball, that's especially true because for how long was it Arizona and UCLA? Now all of a sudden, more girls started playing,
right?
And everybody got better. And it's the same thing with golf. I mean, you see these guys, like you said, they come out of college and they're ready to go. I mean, I just watched in amazement with Colin Morikawa last week. I mean, it just really, for some reason, he caught me because. He's a year out of college, and he's playing like he's been on the tour for 10. And
he's a great kid too, and he's worked very hard at what he does. He's serious about it, and he's got all the tools.
And these guys seem very grounded with it as well. I love watching, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and all those guys. I love watching them do interviews because they just seem so at ease with themselves. They don't get caught up in who they are. Ricky Fowler, all these guys who. They kind of root for each other, but then when they get on the golf course, they go at it. And I just love watching it like that. Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by what's really going on out there.
It's really a credit to the college programs and the junior programs coming up because, in golf, you play at a lot of nice places, but you have to learn the etiquette and the nuances and project yourself in a very positive light, and you're always on, and you just – the nature of the game is taught that, and the college coaches have done a great job preparing these kids to get out and pursue their professional careers, and they're polished.
They are.
Well, it's funny. We had Purdy on the show maybe about a month ago. Good guy, great guy with his stuff. But you had asked him about the things from the previous week when the guy the greens and
right. We had him just after that tournament, and not that tournament, but that event with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and I was fascinated by the open mics that they had and what Mickelson and Tiger were talking about when reading a green and that kind of stuff, and it fascinated me. And then we had Ted Purdy on. He's saying, we checked the barometric pressure, and we, and all those things that go into it. When I go out there, I just swat the ball around, right?
Well, like I said, the average guy, it's hard to learn all the new. There is a good knack to learn that, but these young guys have learned that in college. They're taught that, and they take it with them. And as you play, the more you play in serious conditions, you really learn how to manage what you do, and your mistakes are fewer and more prepared to play.
Right. Okay, Rick, so I'm in a golf pool, all right? Pick me a winner for this weekend. I had Victor Hovland last week. He finished third, so I was happy with that. But I need a winner this week.
Well, I'll tell you, Tiger's going to play, but he hasn't been playing very much lately. So I think certainly Bryson DeChambeau would be certainly a good one to pick. I think Patrick Cantlay would be another good one to pick. And it's hard to go back to back. So
give me one more because I'm saving those two guys for the majors. You have a
limit on who you can
yeah,
have,
you can. It's like a survival pool. You can only pick a guy one time. So I'm saving DeChambeau for a major. Cantlay, I want to use him, but probably down the road. So I need sort of an off guy.
Well, let's see. Who did Morikawa just beat in the playoffs?
Well, he beat Justin Thomas. I've already used him.
Okay, you've already used him. I was going to say that'd be a pretty good pick right there.
Yeah, he's probably a little unhappy with the way he lost that last week.
Well, boy, now you kind of put me on the spot there. Obviously, Koepka has got to have something to prove. He hasn't played very good lately.
Right.
And he might be. I don't know. You've probably already used him.
No, I haven't used him, and I wanted to use him last week, and then I changed my mind and went with Hovland. So, and he didn't make the cut last week because he had a bad first round. So I'm going to go Koepka. All right, it's on you. I'm going Koepka.
Well, Muirfield. You got to be able to put the ball there, and you got to keep the tee shots in the fairway.
All right. Okay, Brooks is my guy.
You didn't take Phil Mickelson either, huh?
I haven't taken him. I never take him. He went to ASU. And that's all that's about.
There's no bias
I never take
here.
him. I never take John Rahm.
There's no bias here.
Guys.
There's no bias here.
Rick, thanks a whole bunch, Rick. We appreciate you doing this, and would love to have you again down the road, and then sometime I'm going to hit you up for some chipping lessons.
Well, anytime. It's always great to talk to you guys. It's a great show.
Thanks a bunch, Rick. We'll appreciate it. Let's come back for our last break here on 10 to the Voice.
Listen to the live stream and find podcasts of your favorite shows at kvoi.com.
There's a place in our house. For 70 years, Benjamin Supply has been keeping Tucson flowing. Hygiene is our business. We help you achieve extreme clean. Minimize germ spreading with a hands-free sensor faucet. Forget the paper panic with a washlet seat. And speaking of waterworks, a big thanks to plumbers for their essential efforts during this health crisis. Shop our downtown showroom by appointment. Call us at 777-7000 or see all the products online at benjaminsupply.com.
Thanks to Benjamin Plumbing Supply.
Camille Rivas Rutherford with Coldwell Banker Realty has been one of the top producing real estate agents in Tucson, Oro Valley, Marana, and Vail for more than 20 years. Let her help you find your dream home in southern Arizona. Her passion and enthusiasm for real estate has helped her become one of the most respected and trusted realtors in the area. And she was recently named a recipient of Coldwell Banker's 2019 International President's Circle Award. Camille's approach to sales and marketing and selling or buying a home is second to none. Give her a call at 520-250-5192.
Hey Tucson, it's me, Dave Ramsey. Every day I get calls from people in difficult situations. Maybe you've been furloughed. Maybe this crisis has put a strain on your relationships. Or maybe you're just scared and you don't know where to start. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that there is hope. We'll walk with you and show you how to take control of your life and your money right here on The Dave Ramsey Show. Live at 1 on 1030 The Voice. Trusted local news and talk.
Tucson's source for trusted news and talk. 1030 The Voice.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera alongside Jay Gonzales. This must be Jay Gonzales' music day.
Oh, Donna Summer, man.
I had a crush on her.
Yeah, the queen of disco, boy.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. And she died really young.
Yeah. She had, I believe, breast cancer.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Good to have Rick on the show.
He's fun. Rick's always been such a great guy, always, incredibly friendly, but you could tell he was a tough coach. He had high standards, and he had that reputation that he was a tough coach. He demanded a lot, and he got a lot from his guys, but he loved his guys. And
that's the kind of coach you want.
That's the kind of coach you want. Yeah. And, competing with him, he was very Dick Tomey-like in that way. Like, he was incredibly friendly, was having a great time competing, but he competed.
But no. In fact, how I ask questions about coaches who don't play anymore, or how much they miss competing.
Right.
You could tell that he probably would miss competing.
Yeah, and you know, and that was what that baseball team was an outlet for a lot of those guys. Was it gave them a chance to compete with no pressure. You know, I know Dick loved being out there because we weren't asking him about the football team and all those kinds of things, and it was a chance to compete. And you know, Rick was the same way, and we had some other guys like that. And you know, we had some other coaches, some of the other assistant football coaches and guys like that, and players and stuff. So that was always a lot of fun. And you can tell that these guys, you know, there's an inherent something in their blood that says they love competing no matter how old they are or what it's in.
Totally get it. And he looks like he'd be a good third baseman, shortstop. He's a tall, lanky dude.
Yeah, he was a tall, lanky dude. But man, we were slow.
No, hey, and you were playing against younger dudes.
Yeah, and we were. I mean, that league was a young man's league, and we had a bunch of guys who just.
Why were you playing in that league? There's no other league, or could you have played up?
No, we could have played in a higher league.
In an older league. I'm talking older, not.
No, there wasn't an older league. It was a city league, and you put a team together, and it wasn't based on age. It was just
you had a
kind of based on skill and what night you could play. And so basically, the guys that were out there and the guys that we were competing against were guys who had played some high school ball, maybe played some JC. I mean, we batted against Jason Hockamy, and he had pitched for the Mets, and then Jason Hockamy ended up playing for us later. But you know, we had guys like that, and then we've got guys on our team. We'd filled it out. I mean, we were a bunch of old guys, but we had one year we had Steve Strong, who won the Pac-10 batting championship one year. Todd Devereaux played for us.
So you had some ringers.
So we did have a few guys to help us fill it out, but the core of our team was a bunch of old guys.
But there was a better league to play in?
There was a higher league to play in, and we
who played it for that?
Oh, you had in that league, you had a lot of guys who maybe had played some pro ball, played college ball, and were still relatively young, so they were still pretty darn good. Ours was way more of a recreational league, more of the high school, junior college guy. Now, one year, Pima College put its team in there to play in the summer, and that's the team that Jason Hockamy was on.
Right.
And they came and played against us. They beat us like 31-4 one time.
I can imagine.
You know, because we were just throwing, you know, we were lobbing the ball up, then they were just crushing us.
You weren't that old. Come on, you had to be 35-ish.
Late 30s.
30s, okay.
So,
and you still have some mobility when you're that. But did you ever get hurt, like pull a quad?
I blew on the knee.
Oh yes,
I'd have knee. I dove for a ball, and didn't dive correctly.
Yeah.
And I blew out my knee. I had knee surgery.
Really?
From that, we had guys had different things. You know, we had a couple of broken arms, a lot of pulled hamstrings.
What a time of your life.
Yeah, my son Adam, when he was out there when he was 5 and we were warming up, he got hit in the head with an errant warm-up throw and got a concussion.
Oh, geez.
A lot of stuff. But you know what? We had so much fun. That team played for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And you know, we were young men when we started, and we were no longer young men when we.
No, it sounds like a lot
of
fun because I played against some of those guys in a different league. I blew up my quad. I never played again. I said I can't deal with this.
Well,
anymore.
I can't throw anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
But you
throw.
But you catch.
Oh, yeah.
No, because you.
Yeah. Well, I can toss a ball back to the pitcher on a slow pitch softball field.
Right.
But if I had to make a throw in the infield or something like that, it's not happening.
Yeah.
With a golf ball, with a tennis ball, with a softball or a baseball, it's not happening.
Well, it's good to talk to Rick.
Yeah,
and bring back some of those.
Rick's
what happened to the fast pitch league? It just kind of just.
I think it just. One of the things that I think happened was slow pitch became such a kind of overtook everything, and slow pitch was huge in this town from the mid '80s to into the '90s.
There was a lot of places.
That's what led to the opening of Sports Park, which still has a lot of softball leagues, but there were softball leagues all over Tucson. Sports Park opened, and that really opened it up. And I think people got to playing, and softball started becoming very serious. You had national touring teams in slow pitch softball. I mean, you remember some of those guys. So it was, but fast pitch. No, I do recall. Fast pitch baseball, fast pitch softball, and semi-pro baseball, or what you would call city league baseball, was a big deal. I mean, I remember seeing. We were talking about when we were talking to Eddie Leon. We were talking about some of those guys, and you would see guys who were on the U of A baseball team playing in these city leagues. Pitchers and all those guys. A guy named Dave Brucker who played with Eddie Leon and was an all-WAC guy. I remember seeing him pitch against my brother. I went to see my brother's game over at Santa Rita Park.
Right.
And he was pitching against him, and I just remember saying, nobody's going to hit him, and so it was a big deal. And I don't know if all the, I know there's still City League baseball out there because my son has played in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but the quality.
But no, I'm going to say that went to a couple of his games and I couldn't have played. Those teams are better than what
we used to be.
Yeah,
it's funny. Back in '85, I was an intern at the Daily Star, and Pat Darcy was playing. I'm thinking, here's a guy who played in the World Series.
Right.
And was crucial in the World Series.
No, we had guys on our team that had been, a guy named Clancy Woods, and I don't know if he still lives here, but he had played for the White Sox, and we had a couple of other guys, and we had Joe Estes. Who he played in the Astros organization. He played in that league. He initially played in the higher league, but I batted against him, and we had a lot of guys like that, and it was just a lot of fun to go out there and compete with these guys. You know what the coolest thing was? You wanted to win those games. You tried to win those games, but when the game was over, you just walked away.
And you were with your buddies.
You had a great time.
Yeah.
Go have some beers, whatever.
Yeah, so some of my best memories are like that because you were with your buddies playing games. And then I'm sure you played softball where you played like 4 or 5 trying to battle out of the losers bracket.
Right.
And you're back Sunday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you still want to be out there.
Right. Some of those tournaments where you'd play 4 or 5 games in a day. And, those were.
The next days were just like.
And I sit here thinking now, could I ever do that? There's no way.
Right.
But, all of that was fun. And there was a lot of that going on. And maybe it still is. I'm just not
sure.
Out in it.
It is. It's just at a different level.
Right. It's a different level, and it's a little different. But it's, that's how we grew up. That's where I played most of my sports. I never made the high school baseball team at my high school.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't good enough. But I played 15 years of City League baseball, and I did okay.
Mm-hmm.
I competed.
You went to Saguaro?
I went to Saguaro.
Yeah.
And I competed with those guys, and I didn't feel like I was in over my head, and I was playing against, again, young guys who were just out of high school, and I competed against those guys. I even hit a home run, over the fence home run.
Well, you're not going to run
one.
It.
I hit one. I hit one. The wind was blowing a little out.
Still able to talk about it.
I kind of got it, and it got up into the wind, and I got one out. But it happens, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I've never hit a home run. I was all glove, no stick.
Yeah. So, that was me. But I had one good year. But we did have a lot of fun with that, and and again, it's competing. Whether it's golf, the guys who play City League basketball now. Yeah. Soccer is so huge.
Well, we talked about with him. I think golfers, and this, they just kind of look like normal dudes who hit the ball however they hit the ball. But deep down they're competitors.
Oh, sure, and you watch them. When we were having the match play here, I followed Rory McIlroy around.
Mm-hmm.
For a round. He's a little guy, but you can tell under his shirt he's cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then he walked up and he swats the ball, and it sounds different. It feels different. It doesn't sound like my ball coming off the ball. And you look at these guys, and it's a combination of things. It's a combination of strength, athleticism, and then just technique.
Right.
And these guys know it. And it's
a
whole different thing when you see those guys swat the ball around a golf course.
That's
why
they make millions, and that's why we're talking about it.
And they, if they can, they deserve it. And more power to them. And I love watching them play. I really love I love watching golf, and I guess one of the reasons I love watching golf is I kind of compare myself to them. And it's just fun to see.
Right. Good show today.
Another fun show. It was great having Rick on, and I hope we'll get him back and just see how see how it's going out there.
It was an anti-COVID day. We didn't
talk about COVID at all, did we?
That was great.
Well, a little bit with Rick talking about how things are out there, but we didn't go deep into it. That's kind of fun.
Good. Yeah. Tomorrow might we get a good guess, and we might looking into something. So, hey, thanks for listening.
Thanks for being here. Have a great evening.
We'll talk to everybody tomorrow.
KVOI Cortero, AM 1030, the voice of Tucson. Trusted local news and